something is happening on properties all across America that most homeowners will never figure out until it is too late. People are spending thousands of dollars on wooden fence panels that rot and warp within 15 years. They are planting bamboo because a landscaper told them it grows fast, only to wake up one morning and find it cracking their driveway, punching through their foundation, and spreading into their neighbor's yard. And here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. Bamboo can crack foundations, damage fences, choke out plants, and cost homeowners thousands of dollars in repairs, and courts across multiple states have ruled that you are legally responsible for the damage it causes even on your neighbor's side of the fence. People are losing lawsuits over a plant they bought to solve a problem. But buried along old property lines in the corners of forgotten homesteads and in history books that the modern landscaping industry would prefer you never read, there are plants that have been building living fences for centuries. Plants that stay where you put them. Plants that cost almost nothing to propagate. Plants so effective that one of them was in such high demand on the American frontier that when supply could not keep up, it directly forced the invention of something you use to this day. Stick around, because that story comes at number 2, and it is one of the most fascinating things that ever happened in American agricultural history. Here are 13 green fences that grow faster than bamboo, ranked from impressive to absolutely incredible, and every single one of them is completely legal. If you believe that nature already solved most of the problems that corporations now charge us to fix, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are counting down all 13 of these living fence plants, starting from impressive and building to the one that earns the top spot as the single most practical, fast-growing privacy solution available to homeowners right now. These are facts, these are verified, and by the end of this video, you will know more about living fences than most professional landscapers. Number 13. Hybrid Willow, the Speed Demon. Most people have never heard of hybrid willow used as a privacy fence, and that is precisely why the people who do plant it look like geniuses to their neighbors 2 summers later. This is a deciduous, fast-growing tree that can add 6 to 10 feet of height in a single growing season, which means a bare stick pushed into the ground in April can tower above your roofline before the first frost arrives. The hybrid willow is a cross between multiple willow species, specifically developed for maximum growth speed and structural density. It tolerates hot and cold temperatures, wet soils, and is resistant to many common diseases, making it one of the most forgiving plants on this entire list. Plant them 5 feet apart, and they knit together into a continuous visual barrier within 2 growing seasons. The best feature by far is propagation. Cut branches in late winter, push them into moist ground, and they root with remarkable consistency, giving you unlimited free plants to extend your fence line in any direction. For anyone who needs real privacy fast without the legal nightmare of bamboo, hybrid willow is the speed demon that delivers. Number 12. Empress Tree, the world record holder. If hybrid willow is fast, then the empress tree, known scientifically as Paulownia tomentosa, belongs in an entirely different conversation. No other tree on Earth matches its verified growth rate. Under ideal conditions, this tree adds 10 to 15 feet of height in a single year. The Chinese have cultivated it for over 2,600 years, and emperors specifically prize the wood for its quality in furniture and musical instruments. For privacy screening purposes, the massive heart-shaped leaves create dense shade and visual coverage within months of being planted. In spring, before the leaves even emerge, it produces clusters of spectacular purple flowers. One of its most powerful features is what growers call coppicing. Cut the tree to the ground, and it regrows even faster in the second season because the root system is already fully established. Plant them 8 to 10 feet apart for a privacy screen that outpaces anything else science has documented. One important note: some U.S. states classify the empress tree as potentially invasive, so check your local regulations before ordering bare rootstock. Number 11. Leyland Cypress, the American classic. The Leyland cypress did not even exist until 1888, when a natural cross-pollination event between a Monterey cypress and a Nootka cypress occurred in Wales at Leighton Hall, producing an accidental hybrid that would go on to become the single most planted privacy screen in the United States. And there is a reason it earned that title. It grows 3 to 4 feet per year with remarkable consistency, without the dramatic spikes and slowdowns you see in some faster-growing species. The soft, feathery foliage stays deep green straight through winter, which means your privacy does not disappear the moment temperatures drop. It tolerates coastal salt spray, making it one of the few options for homeowners near the ocean. Plant leyland cypress 6 to 8 feet apart, and within 3 years you have a solid, year-round visual barrier that spreads no runners, causes no neighbor disputes, and requires only one light pruning each summer to stay dense at the base. Millions of American homeowners chose this tree for very good reasons. It simply works. Number 10. Thuja Green Giant, the Survivor. The United States National Arboretum introduced the Thuja Green Giant in 1967 by crossing a western red cedar with a Japanese arbor vitae, and within decades it became the most recommended privacy tree in North America among professional landscapers and horticultural scientists alike. What makes it exceptional is its tolerance range. It survives cold down to USDA hardiness zone 5 and heat up to zone 9, which covers the overwhelming majority of the continental United States. Deer actively avoid it while happily consuming nearly every other evergreen on a property. Disease and pest problems are virtually non-existent. It grows 3 to 5 feet per year while maintaining a naturally pyramidal shape that needs almost no pruning to stay attractive. Plant them 5 to 6 feet apart for a dense, fragrant evergreen screen that, unlike bamboo, stays precisely where you planted it and causes zero problems for foundations, neighbors, or underground plumbing. Number 9. Privet, the ancient boundary. Roman soldiers planted privet hedges to define property lines across their empire 2,000 years ago, and those same hedging traditions have continued unbroken across Europe ever since. That kind of longevity is not coincidence, it is proof of performance. Privet tolerates pruning better than almost any other hedge plant on Earth. Cut it hard, and it responds by growing thicker and more dense. Neglect it entirely, and it still performs. Semi-evergreen varieties hold the majority of their leaves through winter, while deciduous types push faster annual growth. In summer, privet produces fragrant clusters of small white flowers that attract pollinators throughout the season. Plant privet 12 to 18 inches apart for a formal, impenetrable hedge, and within 3 years of regular trimming, you have a living wall of extraordinary density. It grows 2 to 3 feet per year, shapes exactly to your preference, and has been doing this job for 20 solid centuries. That track record speaks for itself. Number 8. Lombardy poplar, the green column. Drive through the northern Italian countryside and you will immediately recognize these trees. Tall, narrow columns of green lining roads, marking field boundaries, and framing farmhouses for miles in every direction. Lombardy poplars arrived in America in the 1700s and became the defining windbreak of rural landscapes for exactly the same reasons they work in Italy. The tight columnar form grows straight up rather than spreading wide. A mature Lombardy poplar reaches 40 to 60 feet tall while occupying only 10 to 15 feet of width at the base. That vertical growth happens at a remarkable pace, adding 6 to 8 feet per year when the tree is young and vigorous. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and you create a wall of green columns that screens elevated views from windows, upper floors, and elevated roadways that most fence plants simply cannot reach. They do average a shorter lifespan than some trees at 15 to 25 years, so experienced growers stagger replacement plantings at intervals to ensure they never experience a privacy gap. Before we get into the top 7, which is where things get truly interesting, there is something worth saying. The information in this video represents research across centuries of agricultural practice that took serious time to compile and verify. If you find this kind of deep, practical knowledge useful, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a video. We cover the forgotten farming and gardening solutions that the modern industry would rather keep quiet. Now, back to the list because number 7 does something that none of the plants above it can claim. Number 7. Eucalyptus, the aromatic barrier. There are over 700 species of eucalyptus native to Australia, and plant breeders have spent decades developing cold-hardy varieties, capable of surviving well below freezing in North American winters. What makes eucalyptus unique as a living fence is the thing most people already know about it: that distinctive aromatic scent. Those same essential oils that give eucalyptus its smell actively repel mosquitoes, flies, gnats, and other biting insects. Your privacy screen is simultaneously a pest control barrier, which is something no wooden fence panel will ever do. Growth rates reach 6 to 8 feet per year, with some species pushing even faster. The silvery blue-green foliage adds genuine visual interest throughout all 4 seasons. You can coppice eucalyptus to maintain a hedge height or allow it to grow freely into full screening trees depending on your property needs. Plant 8 to 10 feet apart for a screen that smells extraordinary, looks striking, and works on pests at the same time. Number 6. Mulberry. The edible screen. Chinese silk farmers cultivated mulberry trees for over 4,000 years to feed the silkworms that produce the most valuable fabric in the ancient world. But the trees produce something far more accessible than silkworm fodder, and that is the reason mulberry earns a place on this list. The dense branching structure of a mulberry hedge creates solid visual screening even through winter when the leaves have dropped. In summer, those same branches produce generous quantities of sweet berries that taste like a cross between a blackberry and a grape, and they can be eaten fresh, dried, or used in preserves. Birds are drawn to mulberries so powerfully that a mulberry hedge near your blueberry or strawberry planting acts as a decoy crop, pulling birds away from your more valuable fruit. Growth reaches 3 to 6 feet per year with minimal care. Mulberry tolerates drought, heat, poor soil, and genuine neglect while continuing to screen and produce. Plant 6 to 8 feet apart for a fruiting hedge that earns its space twice over, once as a fence and once as a food source. Number 5. Black locust. The soil builder. Early American colonists spread the native black locust tree across the entire country because they quickly discovered something extraordinary about its timber. Fence posts cut from black locust lasted 50 years or more in the ground without rotting. That is not an exaggeration. Black locust produces some of the most rot-resistant wood in North America, lasting over a century as a fence post under real-world conditions. But beyond timber, black locust does something no other tree on this list can do. Like beans and peas, it is a nitrogen-fixing plant, meaning its roots pull nitrogen from the air and deposit it into the soil as a natural fertilizer. Every plant growing near your black locust hedge benefits from an enriched root zone without you adding a single bag of fertilizer. The fragrant white flower clusters in spring feed early season bees at exactly the moment when pollen is most scarce. Sharp thorns along the branches create a physical security barrier that actively discourages trespassers, both human and animal. Growth reaches 4 to 6 feet per year. Plant 6 to 8 feet apart for a living fence that simultaneously builds your soil while it builds your privacy. Number 4. Hawthorn. The 1,000-year fence. Walk the British countryside today and you will find hawthorn hedges that were planted before William the Conqueror invaded England in 1066. That is nearly 1,000 years of continuous service as a living fence. And those same original hedges still define property boundaries on farmland that has changed hands dozens of times since. Traditional farmers used a technique called hedge laying, partially cutting stems and weaving them horizontally, to create a barrier so dense and thorny that livestock simply could not push through it. Modern gardeners can achieve the same result with simple planting and regular pruning. Hawthorn grows 2 to 3 feet per year and lives for centuries with almost no intervention. The white spring flowers attract pollinators. The red autumn berries feed migrating birds through winter. Those same berries have a long history of use in traditional medicine for cardiovascular health. Plant hawthorn 12 to 18 inches apart for a hedge so permanent that your great-grandchildren will still be maintaining it. No wooden fence in history has ever made that claim. Number 3. Rose of Sharon, the flowering wall. Korea named Rose of Sharon as its national flower, and the plant appears throughout centuries of Asian art for a reason that becomes obvious the moment it blooms. This is the plant you choose when your living fence needs to earn its space in the front yard where neighbors and visitors will actually see it. Large hibiscus-style flowers appear from midsummer straight through autumn, which is precisely the window when most other flowering shrubs have finished entirely. Colors range from pure white to deep pink, to lavender to rich purple depending on the variety. And hummingbirds and butterflies treat a mature rose of Sharon hedge like a daily destination. Even through winter, the dense twiggy growth creates genuine visual screening that blocks the majority of sightlines. It grows 2 to 3 feet per year, tolerates heat, drought, and poor soil without complaint, and self-seeds naturally to fill any gaps that appear in the hedge line. Plant 4 to 6 feet apart for a flowering privacy screen, beautiful enough for the most visible part of your property. Now we have arrived at the plant I teased at the very beginning. This is where American history gets genuinely surprising. Number 2. Osage orange, the fence that invented barbed wire. Before European settlement fundamentally altered the landscape, this thorny native tree grew only in a small region covering parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Native Americans prized the dense, flexible wood for crafting bows. The Osage tribe specifically controlled the trade routes for this material across a wide territory. But when American frontier farmers discovered what a hedge of Osage orange could do, everything changed. Frontier farmers described it as horse-high, bull-strong, and pig-tight, meaning nothing on a working farm could push through it. The vicious thorns and interlocked branching created an impenetrable living barrier that replaced expensive imported fencing materials across the frontier. Demand exploded through the 1850s and 1860s as farmers could not plant Osage orange fast enough to keep pace with westward expansion. That inability to grow it quickly enough was precisely what forced inventors to find an alternative solution. And on October 27, 1873, Joseph Glidden submitted his patent application for a fencing wire with sharp barbs, an invention that would permanently transform the American West. Barbed wire was, in a very real sense, invented because Osage orange could not be grown fast enough to fence the frontier. The wood itself is among the most rot-resistant in North America, lasting well over 100 years as fence posts. Growth reaches 3 to 4 feet per year, and modern correctional facilities still use Osage orange in perimeter plantings because of its impenetrability. For anyone who wants the living fence so effective it forced humanity to invent an alternative, Osage orange is history growing in your backyard. Number 1. Hybrid poplar, the complete package. Everything above this point on the list excels in a specific category. Number 1 excels in all of them simultaneously, which is why plant breeders spent decades crossing multiple poplar species to arrive at the hybrid poplar as the single most practical, fast-growing privacy solution available to homeowners today. Growth reaches 5 to 8 feet per year with reliability that faster-growing options cannot match across varying conditions. That speed means complete privacy within 2 to 3 growing seasons from bare root transplants ordered through the mail. The root system stays contained and fibrous, causing no foundation damage and no boundary disputes with neighbors. The exact opposite of bamboo in every measurable way. Hybrid poplars thrive in wet soil and dry soil with equal ease. They establish in poor ground that defeats other fast growers. Summer foliage is dense enough to completely block sightlines. Bare root plants ship inexpensively and establish reliably when planted in early spring, before the leaves emerge. They are affordable enough to order in the quantities required to fence an entire property without breaking a budget. No invasive spreading, no runners crossing property lines, no lawsuits, no permits, no panels rotting in 15 years. Just fast, practical, legal privacy that stays exactly where you planted it. These 13 plants represent fencing wisdom that humanity developed across thousands of years, and that modern landscaping trends replaced with bamboo sales pitches and hardware store panels. Your great-grandparents never needed bamboo. They planted hedges that stayed put, and some of those hedges are still standing more than a century after the people who planted them are gone. Frontier farmers built entire homesteads behind living fences that required no trips to any store. British farmers today harvest from hawthorn hedges that were growing before America was colonized. You never needed bamboo spreading underground into your neighbor's yard, threatening their foundation and landing you in a lawsuit. You never did. Pick 1 or 2 plants from this list that match your climate and your goals. Order bare rootstock this winter and get them in the ground at the first sign of spring. By next autumn, you will have privacy that stays precisely where you put it. Privacy that has been doing exactly this job for centuries. Drop a comment right now and tell me which plant from this list you are ordering first. I read every single one, and I am genuinely curious which direction people across different climates are going to go. And if this video changed the way you think about what a fence can actually be, hit that subscribe button. Because we have many more forgotten solutions like this coming, and you do not want to miss a single one.